Hey guys, welcome to a special short little segment of What's on the Box where we try to figure out what exactly happened with Hodor. We're gonna have a regular episode of What's on the Box released later this week, reviewing the whole episode, but first, we want to take a moment to just try to parse out what happened with Hodor in that last sequence of this past Game of Thrones.
Yeah, this is gonna be more of a breakdown of the mechanics of it, not so much what it means in the broader sense of the story or the episode as a whole.
And I just want to say that we have all watched this scene so many times now, trying to figure it out, so if you're here looking for a definitive explanation of what the hell happened, this might not be the place.
I was so convinced this morning that I knew exactly what happened. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't know. And then just now, when we rewatched the scene again, I think I got it.
Okay, so, sequence of events. The White Walkers and Whites are attacking the cave. Mira is shaking Bran, who's in a vision with the Three-Eyed Raven, telling him, Bran, we need Hodor, warg into Hodor. Bran, in the vision, hears Mira talking to him, saying warg into Hodor, and the Three-Eyed Raven says, listen to your friend. Bran looks at young Wireless, and then present-day Hodor, his eyes flip back and forth, denoting that Bran has warged into him. Some fighting happens, and then the next time it goes to the vision, Three-Eyed Raven is like, peace out, gets stabbed and disintegrates. Then it's back in present day and they're running down the hall.
And once they get to the door, Mira says, okay, hold the door. We cut back to Bran in the vision, and he turns around and he sees young Wireless looking at him.
Apparently seeing him.
Apparently he can see Bran.
Then young Wireless's eyes roll back, we think in just having a seizure, and he has a seizure, and apparently hearing Mira's statement of hold the door, repeats that until it becomes Hodor. End of episode. First question, was Hodor holding the door as Hodor, or was that Bran as Hodor holding the door?
My first watch, I thought it was Bran as Hodor.
Until the most recent time we watched it, I thought it was Bran. Now I'm not sure.
Here's where I think the confusion happens, is the lack of coverage or the lack of seeing characters enough to know what's happening to them. My first big complaint comes after Bran wargs into present-day Hodor, and you see Hodor's eyes flip. The issue with that is that we don't see past young Wireless, so we don't know how he is behaving in that vision. I want to know, is Bran using young Wireless as a conduit to warg into present-day Hodor? Because Bran looks at young Wireless and then wargs into Hodor. My initial thought was that Bran looks at young Wireless, uses him to warg into Hodor the person, removed from any time, because assuming it's not linear, and then is in present-day Hodor, but I would want to know what young Wireless was doing in that vision.
I disagree. I don't think that Bran at any point wargs into Wireless. Let me just get out the board. Is that all right? Can I just go to the board?
Sure.
Okay. Chels?
Okay.
Okay, excuse our grid. We were playing D&D like 2 years ago.
Here, let me climb back here and hold it. I'm gonna hold the board. Hold the board.
So we have Bran. This is Bran. And Bran is both in the present and in the past. As far as we can tell, he's mentally in the past. With Wireless. Okay, but I think that he wargs into the present with Hodor. Physically, he's in the past, but mentally, he's in the present with Hodor.
Question from the back?
Here's my question though. I think maybe what we both mean by a conduit, I don't think he...
Yeah, you think he's using
I think it's
to
like
go
this.
back. No, I don't. See, Bran's powerful enough where he can be in both of these places at once. That's why I have the circles, he's Venn diagramming. He's in both of these places at once. He doesn't need to go through the past to get to the present. He's in the present, but he can't break out of the vision.
But then why have such a focus on him looking at young Wireless?
Because what happens is I think that in that moment, he's using so much of his power that he manifests physically in the past, and Wireless can see him. So he does make a connection with Wireless, but it's not a warging connection. It's something else.
This is when you lose me, dude.
No, this is Bran being too powerful.
You're losing me with the vague non-ward connection.
This is something new.
But it just seems dumb.
Warging into wireless is dumb too.
No, I think it makes sense when, as Chelsea explained, time is not linear. It's just another dimension. People exist within
In all
time.
planes at one time.
So that's why Bran can look at young Wireless
And warg into present-day
him.
Hodor.
Yeah, I just don't buy that Bran, while he's kind of unconscious in the present, eyes rolled back, logged on to werewood.net without his parents' permission, can warg into present-day Hodor.
He's that powerful.
Okay, my other question is, a lot of people online seem to think that young Wireless sees himself holding that door, dying, or becomes aware of that and lives his whole life knowing he's going to die holding a door. I don't think that's the case.
No, because Hodor is a jolly guy.
But there are moments when he's afraid, like he's afraid to go into the crypts of Winterfell. He seems, pensive about this whole journey up north. Maybe because he's seen this vision and he's like, oh, Hodor, this place might be where I die, Hodor.
This is where my problem with it is, because while I think the scene itself was really cool and it was so sad and we were all really affected by it, the fact that for a day, none of us have been able to sit and piece together how this scene works, and there's so many different theories on it, and it's not even like theorizing what might happen or what we might learn eventually. It's just trying to get the scene to make sense. And I think that it's kind of clumsy that no one can piece it together convincingly and that you have to make up a bunch of stuff to make it make sense.
I think it's very clumsy. I think another shot that would have helped us determine what was going on is if there was a shot of present-day Hodor where he clearly became unwarged from Bran. There's no shot like that.
There's no clear shot.
There's no shot like that at all because they're running through the tunnel and we know that Bran is warging into Hodor. But then Bran turns his attention away from Wireless, sees the three-eyed crow disintegrate, and then it's unclear if he's still in Hodor. Mira calls him Hodor. She says, and she calls him Hodor again. She thinks it's Hodor. Is it though? We don't know. We don't know if that's Hodor holding the door until he dies to help save Bran, or if that's Bran warged into Hodor, making it super tragic and sad.
Okay, but is this gonna be something that's gonna be answered immediately next episode? Is it meant to be ambiguous, and are we going to get answers?
I hope so.
That would make it better for me. This show is fantasy. It starts off with the White Walkers, but time travel is a messy, messy thing that I don't think it needed.
But when it's done well, it's easy to understand. Like if you watch the movie 12 Monkeys and you're paying attention the whole time, you don't have any questions about it by the end. It's all telegraphed really well and you get it and you get how time travel works in that movie.
I agree with you in the sense that I don't want science fiction to be introduced into the world of Game of Thrones, but is this still magic or is this crossing into science fiction?
That doesn't even bother me. I think the logic is what I'm concerned
It's
about.
sci-fi logic.
And if it's a simple system where what happened has always happened, I'm fine with that. But then when you introduce the weird warging through time,
It's gonna be tough to make that work, I think.
That's why I think that there is no time existing all at once. I think that linear causality is important to this world. The idea of determinism and predestination is something that I feel like is built into the fabric of this world.
but when you say that, when Ned hears Bran say his name, has that always happened?
I don't see why there's any reason to assume that it hasn't.
Okay, I agree that that's necessary,
But then doesn't that mean that time does exist all at once?
Yeah.
No, Bran exists all at once. Time existing all at once makes it science fiction. Bran existing all at once makes him a magical being, and that's different for me.
My final concern with your idea of Bran warging into present-day Hodor without using Wireless as a conduit is that Wireless clearly hears the words, "Hold the door." How?
It's a bubble of magic coming out from Bran. There's no better way to explain it, though. It's a bubble of magic that is coming out from Bran. Bran is projecting this magical energy, and it's engulfing Wireless. Yes, because he's also Hodor, so that's part of it, but it's not. There's no conduit. There's no using him to get to present Hodor.
But I think him being a conduit's a really easy way to explain why he hears "hold the door."
And explain the seizure. Why else would just hearing that cause him to have a seizure and have those words?
It'd have to be because Bran is doing that and basically just ripping time apart.
It makes more sense to me if Bran is using Wireless to warg into present-day Hodor, and so young Wireless is hearing "Hold the door" through Bran as Bran resides within it.
I don't like that. I don't think that Bran has that ability.
But you just lose me when you make stuff up like bubble of magic or non-warg connection to explain why Wireless hears "Hold the door."
Your conduit is still a non-warg connection.
See, here's our explanation, is that because the past has always happened, So you can't warg into someone during a vision of the past, but you can use them to warg into their present day version.
If I'm Bran and you're Wireless and you're Hodor, and I use Wireless to get to Hodor, you're not, you're still doing your own shit. That's a non-ward connection.
But
We're
it's
just
deeper
using
than you have a
we're
bubble
just
of
using
magic.
different words
It's like
to say the same thing.
Wireless is like a web portal. Yeah, this is why I have issues with it, because this shouldn't be like Primer, the movie. If we get more explanation next week, I'll be very happy. I'll take back any complaints I have if all of this is resolved, but I am not so sure it will be, and I'm kind of annoyed with it. As much as I liked the scene and the emotional beats it hit, please tell us what you think, because I'm very curious. Please tell us how we're wrong and why we're wrong, and send your hate mail to practicalfolks@gmail.com.
So that's about it for us trying to figure out what happened with Hodor.
I think we're just more confused now.
I'm more confused. We're about to record the real What's on the Box now, so make sure you tune into that later. And if you missed our hour-long discussion right after the episode, you can check that out too for just unbridled, unadulterated, unedited thoughts.
We probably have more coherent thoughts in that than we did just now.
Thanks for watching this. Sorry for you watching this. And until you tune in to the next thing, I'm James.
I'm James.
I'm Chelsea.
Hodor!
Hodor!
Oh, that's sad.